Who do you think was the most important Beatles OG?
That's a really tough question. They met so many people at exactly the right time. It probably comes down to George Martin or Brian Epstein.
Well, there's a long list of them because, for one thing, the Beatles had a fabulous career.
Right. Success has 1,000 fathers and
failure is an orphan, so let's count them down right now. And along the way, we're going to figure out who, out of these 10 OGs, perhaps got too much credit and who got too little credit.
Exactly. We're going to look at the architects, the confidants, and, the inner circle allies who literally built the biggest band in history.
I love a good countdown, honestly. And we have a lot of ground to cover. So let's just kick this off with number 10.
Number 10.
Right. So we have to set the scene for you. It's 1960. A scruffy, leather-clad band hits Hamburg.
Oh, yeah. The Hamburg days.
Yeah. And at this point, they're visually unpolished, to say the least. They just look like generic greasers. Enter Astrid Kircher.
Yes. So Astrid is this young German art student, and she falls in love with original members Stuart Sutcliffe.
Right.
She photographs them at the Hamburg Fairgrounds and introduces them to this existentialist sort of exi-European culture.
So she's essentially shifting them away from that greaser pomp, right? But, okay, let's stop for a second, because there is a massive misconception here.
Well, about the hair.
Yes. The hair. I always grew up hearing that she single-handedly invented the mop top.
Yeah, that's a fantastic legend, but it's just not true. French art students were actually already wearing that style.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and a guy named Jürgen Vollmer over in Paris is the one who actually did John Lennon and Paul McCartney's hair in 1961.
Wow. Okay, so was she less of a hairstylist and more of an art director for a band that didn't know they needed one?
That is the perfect way to put it.
Yep.
She absolutely was.
Okay, so that's the visual aesthetic.
Yeah.
But from the woman who gave them their look, we go to the man who physically got them to the stage.
Yes. Moving on to number 9, Alan Williams.
Alan Williams, a Liverpool promoter. He owned the Jacaranda Club, right?
Right. And he is the guy who drove them to Hamburg in a broken-down steel van.
Huh. Just imagine the smell in that van.
Oh, I don't even want to think about it. But he booked their early gigs. He fed them. He basically kept them alive over there.
But people always get his legacy wrong. He wrote a memoir called The Man Who Gave the Beatles Away, right?
Yeah, which is just a terrible title for him.
Yeah.
It makes him sound like he foolishly just tossed them aside.
Like he lost the winning lottery ticket.
Exactly. But the reality check here is that they actually refused his 10% commission.
Oh, so it was just a standard money dispute. Business is business.
Yep. And he was so mad about it that he actually warned Brian Epstein not to touch them with a barge pole.
Could you imagine a worse Yelp review? 1 star, do not touch with a barge pole, will not pay 10%.
It's hilarious. But thankfully, Epstein ignored him.
Thank goodness. Okay, so surviving those Hamburg clubs meant they needed a musical mentor, right? And they found one sharing the stage with them. Number 8.
Number 8 is Tony Sheridan.
An established English singer.
Right, and he actually hired the young group to back him at the Top 10 Club. He even dubbed them the Beat Brothers.
The Beat Brothers. Catchy.
Not quite as catchy, I know, but this led to the Burt Kempfert Polydor sessions. My Bonnie, she's sweet.
Right. Now, the reality check for Tony Sheridan is that he wasn't just some guy using them for a cheap backing track.
Not at all. He was a major stylistic mentor, especially for George Harrison and John Lennon.
What did he actually teach them, though?
Professional studio discipline.
Yeah.
Playing to a microphone is very different from playing to a drunk crowd. He taught them how to be professionals.
That makes total sense. So from stage mentors to the guy actually lifting the gear onto the stage. Number 7, Mal Evans.
Well, Mal Evans, a 6'6" gentle giant.
6'6"?
Yeah, he started as a Liverpool ABC cinema projectionist, then became a bouncer, and then their full-time personal assistant.
And he was lugging those heavy Vox amps all over the globe, right?
Literally carrying the weight of the band. But here is the reality check with Mal. He was much more than hired muscle.
Right, because fans just assume a roadie is just a guy plugging in cables.
Oh, but he was inside the sacred Abbey Road creative bubble.
He actually played on the records, didn't he?
Yes. He contributed musically. He rang the alarm on A Day in the Life.
No way.
Yeah. He hit the anvil on Maxwell's Silverhammer. He even played organ on You Won't See Me.
Wow. Anyone can hit an anvil, but being trusted to do it inside Abbey Road means you are truly family.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which makes his death by police shooting in 1976 it's so tragic.
It really is heartbreaking. Now, while Mal handled the physical heavy lifting, someone had to handle the crushing weight of Beatlemania's global press.
Yes, the media storm.
Yeah.
Number 6 is Derek Taylor.
A former Daily Express journalist, right?
Right. He was the NEMS press officer and later the press chief for Apple Corps in 1968.
So he was the PR guy, but when we think of PR guys, we think of sanitized spin doctors.
But that wasn't Derek Taylor at all. He didn't sanitize anything. He used radical honesty.
Radical honesty. How does that work when Apple Corps is, like, famously a chaotic mess?
Well, he had this incredible literary flair. So instead of hiding the chaos, he framed the Apple Corps situation as this wild, brilliant experiment.
So he just owned it. Yes, we're a mess, but it's an artistic mess.
Exactly. He shaped their clever, articulate public image by just treating the press and the fans like adults.
That is brilliant branding. So speaking of Apple Corps, we have to talk about the man who actually ran the empire. Number 5.
Number 5 is Neil Aspinall.
Neil Aspinall.
He was a teenage friend of Paul McCartney and George Harrison.
Oh, right. He rented a secondhand van for £5 to drive them around in the early days.
Yes. And he eventually became the ultimate gatekeeper for the band.
That's like your buddy who drives you to the airport, eventually becoming the CEO of your multi-billion-dollar airline.
That is exactly what happened. Fans think of him as just a roadie, but he ran Apple Corps for 40 years.
40 years?
Yeah, spearheading the anthology project live at the BBC, and he even fiercely fought Apple Computer in court to protect their trademarks.
So he protected the legacy on paper, but who physically captured the magic on tape? That brings us to number 4.
Number 4 is Jeff Emmerich.
Jeff Emmerich.
He was an assistant engineer at just 15 years old for their first audition.
15?
I know. And by 19, he was the principal balance engineer for Revolver.
Wait, at 19, he's engineering Tomorrow Never Knows? That is mind-blowing.
Right. And he went on to engineer Sgt. Pepper, The White Album, and Abbey Road.
Okay, but he's more than just a button pusher, right?
Oh, completely. EMI had these very rigid, scientific rules for recording, and Emmerich was a creative catalyst who just broke all of them.
Give me an example, because I know the studios back then were super strict.
Okay, so he started close miking drums. He even put microphones inside the bass drum.
Inside the bass drum, EMI must have hated that.
They considered it vandalism, but he also ran John Lennon's vocals through a Leslie speaker.
Oh, to get that swirling mountaintop sound.
Exactly. And he deliberately pushed the tape meters into the red for distortion. He was a genius.
That's incredible. Okay, so the studio was a place of innovation, but by 1969, it was also a toxic battlefield. Number 3.
Number 3, Billy Preston.
They needed a peacemaker, basically.
Yeah, they were at each other's throats. Billy Preston was a 22-year-old American keyboard virtuoso.
They had met him way back in 1962, right?
Right. And George Harrison brings him into the tense Let It Be sessions.
To kind of force everyone to behave since there's a guest in the room.
Exactly, the polite guest effect.
Yeah.
But he also played these incredible, soulful Fender Rhodes and Hammond organ parts.
Now, the reality check here is that he wasn't just a session player, he was a legitimate fifth Beatle.
Absolutely.
Whoa.
John Lennon actively wanted him as a permanent member of the band.
Wait, really? Why didn't it happen?
Well, Paul McCartney vetoed it. He pointed out that making four-way decisions was already entirely too hard, so a fifth voice would be impossible.
That is fair logic. But he still got a credit, didn't he?
He did. He was credited directly on the single Get Back. It literally says The Beatles with Billy Preston.
Which is huge. Okay, we've hit the top two. Let's go back to the man who started it all in a damp Liverpool cellar. Number 2.
Number 2 is Brian Epstein.
Brian Epstein, a 27-year-old NMS record manager.
Right. He sees them at the Cavern Club in November 1961.
And he completely cleans them up.
He puts them in tailored suits and stops the stage smoking.
He made them presentable to the world, basically, and secured the EMI Parlophone contract.
Exactly. And when he died tragically at 32 in 1967, it was devastating.
Now, you hear a lot of modern business analysts criticizing his early merchandise deals.
Oh, all the time.
They say he gave away the farm on lunchboxes and T-shirts.
Yeah, but they missed the point entirely. Without his unshakable faith and his refined diplomacy, Beatlemania simply never happens.
Right. He willed it into existence. Which brings us to number 1. Epstein secured the contract, but it was the man who signed that contract who ultimately translated their genius.
Number 1, George Martin.
George Martin, head of Parlophone Records.
Classically trained at Guildhall.
What did she specifically bring to the table?
I mean, he arranged the strings on Yesterday, the brass on Penny Lane.
The tape loops on Being for the Benefit of Mr. Kite.
Right.
Nice.
And that entire sweeping Abbey Road medley.
Now, the reality check here. Some fans, and even John Lennon in his bitter years, hinted he was just a corporate suit taking too much credit.
Which is entirely false. He let four rockers tear up EMI's rulebook. He took the abstract, unrecorded dreams in John Lennon and Paul McCartney's minds and executed them into high art.
Beautifully said. So you step back and look at this. We obsess over individual genius, but true greatness requires a massive ecosystem.
It absolutely does.
It makes you wonder, for you listening right now, who is the Mal Evans or Derek Taylor in your own life quietly keeping your show on the road?
Wait, I almost forgot to mention our Beatles store.
Yeah, we've collected our favorite Beatles treasures all in one place. The link is in the video description and the first comment.
It's a great way to support this channel and get some great prices on some Beatles merch.
Lots of great gift ideas for that Beatles fan in your life.
Yeah, and if you see something you like, you can treat yourself. The link to our store is in the video description and the first comment.
And if you have a browser handy, go to BeatlesRewind.com and that will get you to our store.
Beatles forever.
Until next time, when you listen.
Your mind conducts its own symphony.